Today's story is about a servant who gets into an affair with a queen. When the king finds out, the servant is forced to hide his identity to save his life and starts working in a church. However, he is unaware that the nuns of this church, who appear religious, actually lead lives full of struggles and unusual desires. After arriving there, certain events start unfolding, affecting not only his life, but also completely changing the lives of all the nuns. Before beginning the story, we would like to clarify that this video is purely for entertainment purposes and to explain the concept of the film. Our intention is not to disrespect any religious beliefs or sentiments. If any scene or dialogue in the video makes you feel uncomfortable, we request you to watch it purely for entertainment. The story begins with a nun named Fernanda leading her donkey through the jungle toward the church. Upon reaching the church, another nun named Ginevra approaches her and asks where she was last night. Fernanda replies, "Like always, my donkey ran away last night as well, and I was late finding it." While they are talking, the gardener, Lurko, passes by and greets them with a good morning, but both nuns scold him and send him away. In the next scene, all the sisters gather in the church for morning prayer. Afterward, the superior nun, Sister Maria, asks Fernanda where she was last night. Fernanda replies, "My donkey ran away last night, and I was looking for it." Sister Maria says nothing. In reality, there is another story behind this donkey incident, which we will uncover later in this video. On the other hand, we see another nun named Alessandra, who is knitting in her room. She is very sad because she doesn't like this life and wants to live outside the church. Meanwhile, Sister Ginevra is talking to Sister Maria when she suddenly notices a picture in a book. The picture depicts a strange ritual, which surprises her. She reads a few lines, sets the book aside, and moves on. At the same time, Sister Alessandra's father arrives to meet her, and they begin talking. Her father says, "I am looking for a good match for you, but the problem is that every good man demands a hefty dowry." To this, Alessandra replies, "If you reduce the donations given to the church, we might be able to arrange the dowry money." Her father, however, disagrees, saying, "That would not be right. Don't worry about marriage. Just focus on your career. Whether you marry or not, you will still lead a fulfilling life." Hearing this, Alessandra feels deeply saddened because she dreams of marriage as a way to live a beautiful and fulfilling life. The next day, we see all three nuns together, carrying their woven garments. Alessandra shares her conversation with her father with the other two, and upon hearing it, they also feel disheartened. Just then, they notice Lurko, who is working nearby but staring at them in a strange manner. Annoyed by his gaze, the three of them storm inside and start throwing his belongings in frustration. Still unsatisfied, they even beat him up. Meanwhile, we see Father Tommaso of the church, who sets off to take the woven garments to the market. On the way, Lurko approaches him and says, "Forgive me, Father, but I don't want to work in this church anymore." Father Tommaso tries to convince him that nothing like this will happen again, but Lurko remains firm and leaves. A few miles away from the church, we see a landlord named Lord Bruno having a meal with his wife, Francesca. While Bruno talks, Francisca's attention is fixated on their servant, Masetto, and Masetto also keeps glancing at her. It is evident from their eyes that something is going on between them. That night, we see that Francesca and Masetto have already finished one round in bed. Francesca says, "My husband cannot satisfy me. All he cares about is his wealth and prestige." After that, the two get ready for the second round. Just then, they hear the sound of Bruno entering the room. Masetto quickly tries to escape through the window, but Bruno spots him from behind and chases him towards the servants' quarters. Masetto, however, reaches there first and pretends to be asleep. Bruno then begins checking all the servants one by one to see whose heartbeat is racing. When he reaches Masetto, he suspects that he might be the one, but due to the darkness, he is unable to confirm it. So he cuts off a small portion of Masetto's hair, thinking that in the morning, he will be able to identify the culprit. However, as soon as Bruno leaves, Masetto wakes up and cleverly cuts small portions of hair from all the other servants as well. In the morning, Bruno lines up all the servants and begins checking them one by one. However, everyone's hair appears slightly trimmed, making it impossible for him to identify the culprit. Despite this, he realizes that whoever it is must be very clever. Threatening everyone, he declares, "The one I'm looking for. If I catch him, consider him finished." Then, to eliminate any further confusion, he orders all the servants to have their hair cut short. The next day, when Francesca and Bruno sit down to eat, Bruno warns his wife, saying, "What you did was not right. I know you are involved in all this. If I find that servant even once, I will not only deal with him, but also with you." However, Francesca is completely unfazed and boldly responds, "You won't be able to do anything." Meanwhile, Bruno observes his wife exchanging subtle signals with Masetto, and it suddenly clicks. Masetto is the servant he has been looking for. We then see Macedo working, with Francesca nearby. She approaches him and tries to forcefully create an earthquake with him. However, this time, Bruno catches them from a distance. Enraged, he orders his men to catch Macedo and bring him. Macedo also realizes that Bruno has seen everything. In a desperate attempt to save his life, he takes off running, with Bruno's men hot on his trail. However, despite their efforts, they fail to catch him. Macedo keeps running through the jungle, going far away until he stumbles upon Father Tommaso. On his way to the market, Father Tommaso had consumed some wine, and due to intoxication, his cart had overturned, sending all his clothes floating into the river. Seeing this, Macedo rushes to help him, gathering all the scattered clothes. Impressed by Macedo's kindness, Father asks about his situation and learns that he has no home. Feeling sympathetic, he takes him to the church. There, Father gives Macedo some food and advises him, "You must pretend to be mute and deaf here, otherwise the sisters will trouble you a lot." The next morning, the father introduces Macedo to Sister Maria, saying, "I have brought a man skilled in every task. However, he is mute and deaf, so I brought him here to replace Lurco for the work." Hearing this, Maria hires him immediately. From that day, Macedo began working at the church. However, Sisters Alessandra and Fernanda are unaware of his hiring. When Fernanda spots him, she assumes he is an intruder and charges at him with an axe, demanding, "Who are you?" Sister Alessandra quickly brings Sister Maria, who clarifies, "He is our new gardener, Macedo. He is mute and deaf." Hearing this, Fernanda finally lets him go. Later, we see Sister Maria and Alessandra talking. Maria informs her, "The clothes you sisters had woven were stolen by robbers, while Father was taking them to the market. I regret that your hard work has gone to waste. However, to increase production, we will bring in more people so that more clothes can be made in less time." Later, Alessandra works alongside an elderly nun named Viola, weaving clothes. During this, the weaving frame breaks, so she heads to Macedo to have it repaired. However, Sister Ginevra notices Alessandra going and secretly starts watching her. Alessandra asks Macedo to fix the frame, and as he repairs it, she vents her frustration. "I don't want to stay here. I don't want to do sewing work. I want to leave this place and live my life freely." Despite hearing this, Macedo remains expressionless, maintaining his mute and deaf act. Alessandra knows this, believing that he cannot hear or tell anyone anything. That night, Father visits Macedo's room and asks, "How is your day? The sisters here can be quite quarrelsome, so working here might be tough." Macedo responds, "Yes, some sisters are quite difficult, but I will manage my work." Father reassures him, "Don't worry, they won't harm you. But no matter what happens, keep informing me. Also, continue pretending to be mute and deaf so that they don't trouble you too much." Meanwhile, Fernanda is in her room reading when suddenly, a stone is thrown at her window. She opens it and sees her childhood friend Marta standing outside. Fernanda lets her in, and together they go to Alessandra's room, where all three start drinking wine. After a while, Sister Ginevra joins them, and the four of them start enjoying themselves. As they continue drinking, the conversation turns romantic. Marta excitedly tells them, there is a special herb that, when used in a particular way, can attract boys. Hearing this, the others listen with great interest, thoroughly enjoying the conversation. The next day, as Macedo is working, Alessandra approaches him and says, "I made this handkerchief for you." Then she wipes his sweat with it and sits close to him, engaging in conversation. After hearing Marta's romantic stories the night before, Alessandra's mind is filled with naughty thoughts. As they talk, she suddenly kisses Macedo. Macedo seizes the opportunity and indulges in the act with her there. However, just as things heat up, the church bell rings, startling Macedo. Alessandra quickly composes herself and hurries to the church to pray. While praying, Fernanda notices dirt on Alessandra's scarf and fingernails, making her suspicious. In the next scene, Ginevra and Fernanda are washing clothes when Alessandra arrives, looking particularly cheerful. She happily exclaims, "Last night was so much fun." Curious, Fernanda asks, "What are you doing here? And why are your clothes so dirty?" Alessandra quickly responds, "I was helping the new gardener with his work, which is why my clothes got dirty." However, both sisters find this hard to believe because Alessandra never does any work. But Fernanda, being sharp-witted, realizes that Alessandra is hiding something. Later, we see Fernanda and Marta in the jungle, searching for the special herb. After finding it, they boil it to prepare a mysterious liquid. Marta puts 2 drops of that liquid in her eyes and then makes a small cut on her finger, taking some blood and applying it to her cheeks. However, Ginevra is secretly watching everything. After this, Fernanda and Marta go to Macedo's room, where Fernanda tries to intimidate him by showing him a knife. Then both of them try to attract Macedo toward them. Macedo finds all this strange and wonders what they are doing to him. But gradually, he loses control, and the three of them indulge in the act. Once their work is done, Fernanda and Marta step out of the house, where they run into Ginevra, who asks them what they are doing there. They do not give her a clear answer and leave, making an excuse. However, Ginevra realizes that they are hiding something from her. The next morning, head Father Bishop comes to visit the church, and Father Tommaso and Maria welcome him. Meanwhile, Masetto goes to Alessandra's room, and once again, they indulge in the storm and earthquake. However, Sister Viola suddenly enters the room, and they fail to notice her at first. But then Masetto sees her and blurts out, startling Alessandra. Both of them panic upon Viola's arrival, and Alessandra, trying to cover up, starts helping Viola, while Masetto hides under the bed. Fortunately, their luck is in their favor because Sister Viola is deaf and unable to comprehend their actions. Later, Masetto quietly escapes through the window without making a sound. The next day, Ginevra sees Masetto resting and tries to attract him by preparing a herbal potion. However, instead of putting it in her eyes, she drinks it. Then she takes out some blood from her hand and applies it to her cheeks. Meanwhile, Alessandra enters Masetto's room and asks him why he lied about being mute. Just then, hearing Ginevra approaching, Alessandra quickly hides in a corner while Masetto pretends to be asleep. In an intoxicated state, Ginevra comes near Masetto and starts clinging to him, behaving strangely. But upon hearing Fernanda's footsteps, she also hides in the same corner where Alessandra is already concealed. Both of them are startled to see each other. Fernanda enters the room, ties Masetto's hands, blindfolds him, and, after threatening him, takes him toward the jungle. Alessandra and Ginevra secretly follow them. By the time they reach the middle of the jungle, it is already night. They see a fire burning in the middle of the forest, surrounded by several girls dancing naked. Nearby, Masetto is tied up. Alessandra, shocked, asks, "What are they doing?" Ginevra replies, "I have read about such rituals before, where girls sacrifice humans to gain the powers of a witch." It is revealed that Fernanda regularly comes here under the pretense of tending to the donkey, and now Marta has also joined her. Just as Marta and Fernanda are about to sacrifice Masetto, he, terrified, screams. This makes them realize that Masetto is not actually mute or deaf. Meanwhile, in her intoxicated state, Ginevra also removes her clothes and starts dancing with the other girls. Seeing this, the rest of the girls get scared and run away. At the same time, Fernanda is about to sacrifice Masetto, but Alessandra arrives just in time, snatches the knife from Fernanda, and rescues Masetto. In the struggle between Ginevra and Marta, Ginevra hits Marta with a stick, knocking her unconscious. Then, wearing Marta's clothes, she grabs the donkey and runs toward the church. Upon reaching the church, she starts shouting, "Fernanda is a witch!" Hearing the commotion, Father Bishop comes out, and Ginevra tells him that Fernanda is a witch. Just then, Fernanda, Alessandra, and Masetto arrive. Alessandra tells the father that Ginevra is lying, and that she took the herbal potion and is now hallucinating. But Ginevra insists, "I am not lying. They are all in this together, and these two have also been intimate with the gardener." Hearing this, Father Bishop calls Maria outside and asks what is happening. Just then, Father Tommaso also emerges from Maria's room, leaving everyone shocked. Father Bishop immediately realizes what has been going on in the church all this time. The next day, Father Bishop punishes everyone one by one and asks them to seek God's forgiveness. The harshest punishment is given to Father Tommaso, as he misused his position. As punishment, he is sent to a monastery where only men reside. Masetto is handed back to Lord Bruno, whose soldiers take him captive. Later, the three sisters, Ginevra, Fernanda, and Alessandra, apologize to each other. Sister Ginevra also asks Fernanda for forgiveness. Then the three of them start thinking about Masetto, fearing that Lord Bruno might kill him. They begin devising a plan to save him. Meanwhile, Lord Bruno imprisons Masetto and tells him, "I have tied my wife with dogs and wild animals so that she dies a painful death. Now it's your turn, but I won't kill you. I will keep you alive and torture you even more." Saying this, he leaves. Masetto pleads with the guards to release him, but they refuse and mock him instead. After some time, the guards notice a burning candle on the back of a tortoise and follow it. In reality, the tortoise was released by the sisters as a distraction. As soon as the guards leave, the three sisters sneak in and free Masetto, replacing him with a dummy. They dress Masetto in the sisters' clothes and run toward the jungle. Meanwhile, Maria arrives with the donkey to meet Tommaso. They are both overjoyed, as they have fallen in love and can't stay apart. Hearing some noises, they hide. At that moment, Fernanda spots her donkey and wonders how it got there. After they leave, Maria and Tommaso come out and realize that the three sisters have rescued Masetto. Seeing their mischief, They smile at each other and walk away together. And with this, the story comes to an end. So friends, I hope you really like this story. If you're visiting our channel for the first time, make sure to like the video and subscribe to our channel.